Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once more to Pride of Nations, as we continue as the Tsar of Russia. So, we do have a number of things to be addressed in this episode. Well, I should say session, really. Obviously, as this has been streamed. So we do need to contend with the economical factors affecting the nation, such as the fact that we're not exactly making too much in the way of actual money. Private capital is good, but money is something that we need as well. I mean, I could use money for a lot of things. Increase in research would be definitely worthwhile, but also a number of certain things require it. Right, so planned capital is increasing at a decent rate. It's not too much, but it's okay for the moment. Industrial goods like steel are going up, coal's going up, supply is going down, obviously. Iron is good. Minerals. Okay. So we could do with addressing where these are coming from, actually. So if we take a look at the Ministry of Industry and Economy. Well, Industry and Commerce, I should say. So we do have a few options here. Steel import subsidy. This decree voted, in which case the state will pay 200, allows you to receive more steel in exchange of state funds. Gain of 30 steel and lower inflation against 100 state funds may be repeated every year. So we're going to go for the steel import subsidy, so I can gain extra 30 steel and also reduce inflation. Though inflation at this moment in time isn't actually a factor. There isn't really anything to do with loans, like loans just never were quite implemented, which is a shame. They really do need to potentially work on this game again, but we'll see. Now, at the moment, we do have our population complain about the tax, and they're more than likely going to be complaining about the, I would say, either the tariff or the census probably be more wide-ranging, though we would have to see who was complaining. And hello there, Lawson, how you doing, dude? Okay. So what did we just finish there? A consulate. Right, so we can see here that we're the transportation of supplies across the sea there. See, now we're selling cereals to Austria, which is actually making us a decent amount of private capital. It's not a huge amount, but it's actually not too bad. It's something stable that's going to be there throughout the entire game. There will be a demand for food. And obviously if we, well, develop the agrarian economy of Russia, then we should be able to make a tidy sum from that. At least something to keep the state going. To pay for the large army. Now, this is the issue here. We're buying manufactured goods from Prussia. I mean, that's a fairly expensive price for us compared to, obviously, the price of grain, which is decent to sell. But, obviously, if we're buying manufactured goods and we're not selling something worth anywhere near that value, it's not going to do very well for us. Hello there, Antonio. How are you doing? Okay. Have you seen the Romanovs, the history of the Russian dynasty? I've heard of it. I might have seen a little bit of it, actually, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Okay. So grains aren't increasing too much. Now, we do need to increase the manufactured good production. So if we do this... So at the moment, if I left-click, you can see the request is increasing. So you can see the total requested there. So North Germany, the total requested is 29. Chesapeake is 33, Low Countries is 7, Scandinavia is 0. So if I press left, that increases the demand, basically we're demanding more and more. We're obviously going to reduce that, as ideally I want to rely upon my own sources, therefore we can save some more cash that can go into the actual Russian economy. Chemicals is one we don't need to worry about too much at the moment. There is a little bit of a demand, not much in the way of demand at the moment. Okay. So we'll save a little bit of money by reducing the amount of manufactured goods being bought. That should be okay. Saves us something in the long run. Okay, now the regional census. So the issue that we have really here is the contentment. It is not very good. So we can pass a decree here to prohibit children working, which shall be good. Should hopefully help us out to a degree. Okay. So obviously we do want to look into actually producing more manufactured goods. I believe we started the construction of a machine part factory in Moscow itself, or was it the mechanical shop? There we go. So that's underway. Now, ideally, we'd need more manufactured goods. Could always do with manufactured goods there, something that's going to be useful for a long-ass time. Okay, so we'd be paying about 1,000 capital, 31 steel, 10 coal, 31 manufactured goods. It takes just under a year to produce, but obviously that's going to be quite nice. Have you industrialized the bear? Nowhere near. We do have some basic industry underway. We have started the construction of our first basic factory over here, the machine shop over here, the mechanical shop. But it's going to take a long time to properly industrialize Russia. In all honesty, I'm considering building a railroad to Sevastopol. Possibly... Oh, we might be better served by having a rail from Warsaw to Moscow. I mean, that would allow us to move reinforcements fairly quickly within the Russian hardlands and into Poland itself, which would definitely give us some leverage against the Prussians or the Austrians. And indeed, the Austrians... they do have a fair-sized army, so we do need to be fairly wary. Okay. Now, as far as it goes for the Ministry of Colonial Affairs, so we take a look at regions with a positive influence. We could start to really influence in this area, which is rather interesting. Though we need to finish off these. Okay. We do gain from the colonies. Only a slight amount, but we do gain. Okay. So I think we really need to encourage immigration. So how much is this going to cost us? About 15 money and 7 private capital. Which isn't too much. We will be spending about 200 to prohibit child exploitation. So we'll start by placing some immigrants. I think we'll colonize these regions to the south first, but at least I'll have some actual manpower in that area. Okay, we'll keep about 15 gold in reserve. We're just going to call it by gold, which it pretty much is. Yes, we do still have Alaska. It is 1850, so we still hold on to Alaska, which is pretty sweet. What we'll have to do is... I'm going to hold on to this as long as possible. So that should be quite good. We do have British Canada over here as well. Having Alaska would give us some really nice strategic options in the future. Being able to base a Russian fleet over here would be very, very good. And if we could keep a somewhat friendly relationship with the British, we might be able to make things work by that. I could try to extract some resources from the New World. Though, of course, that is assuming that we can actually hold out here in the Old World. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move on. We will have the Crimean crisis soon enough, the Crimean War. So we'll have to prepare for that. Maybe we should go to war with the US and take California. That would be rather interesting. I just don't think I'd have a... I'd not be able to supply the forces over there, really. If we build up Alaska, then there might be an opportunity. Though I think a war against the US will be fought really at sea. Maybe through guerrilla actions, maybe London's taking a few ports, trying to hold on to them that way. The other thing is we already have to contend with a lot of colonies. I mean, the distances involved is absolutely incredible. You can imagine marching troops or somehow transporting troops from Moscow to California. That would be rather difficult, to say the very least. I think once we do eventually build up a large navy, which we are definitely going to do, things may be different. Okay, digging the music. Are the steppes considered colonies? Yes, the steppes are colonies and protectorates at the moment. Let's see. Try to recall how to check. Okay. Definitions and colonial. Okay. So... yeah, these are considered Russian protectorates. This is as well considered a Russian protectorate. These are considered Russian colonies, I do believe. So these, I think these are different regions. Russian colony. Russian colony. Russian influenced territories over here. This is Russian colony. And so is Alaska. If we were to build up the amount of immigration, it might change in the future. Okay. Then again, considering... I was talking about the rail from possibly Moscow to Warsaw. That would be very nice. I mean, it'd be very beneficial. But I mean, it would be quite handy to have a rail down to the Caucasus. Or perhaps not to the Caucasus, but perhaps to Odessa. And I could have a line from, let's see. If I was to have it to go from Moscow, I could have it run to potentially Kiev. And then we could have it run from Kiev to Warsaw and then to Odessa. So at least we gain a decent benefit. Then we could have Warsaw to St. Petersburg, or Warsaw, Riga, St. Petersburg. Then a connecting line between Riga and Moscow. There's a lot of work that's going to be needed to be done. But we do need to start moving troops down to the areas where they're going to be needed. So let's see. We do have some decent frontier armies. Not terribly much, but some decent ones nonetheless. I think we'll have the second army of the Russian Empire move down towards Odessa. So you can see here, it's going to take 66 days for our troops to arrive at Odessa. Now obviously the siege artillery is slowing them down. These pieces are obviously used for taking down fortifications. What do we have in terms of the Black Sea Fleet then? Helps if I go to the right mode. There we go. Right list of forces. Do we not have anything in the port? Ah, there we go, just have to click on that. Okay. To be honest, I think you should build the Black Sea Fleet. Yeah, that is true, though we obviously do need to protect the Baltic as well, but we do have, I mean, the Baltic will freeze over. Okay. So what do we have here? We have a couple warship squadrons. These are battleships, that's fairly handy. These are going to be somewhat versatile for the time being. Okay, so fair number of battleships. A couple frigates, and then one of these. We have some screw corvettes, transports, okay. It's not a terribly large fleet, but it's a decent size. So we have 61 ships in the Black Sea Fleet. The Baltic Fleet has about 66 ships as well. Okay. Which is our most powerful fleet then? That would be the Baltic. We do have a Siberian. So we have only 3 ships over here for the Siberian. Well, for the waters around Siberia. Well, Kamchatka. Kamchatka? Can't remember how you say it. Kamchatka. That's it. So yeah, we'll focus on building up the Black Sea Fleet then. I don't believe I'd be able to get the Baltic Fleet into the Black Sea. I don't think I'd have access through the Bosphorus over here. Okay. Ah, so we have received a proposal from Austria. A commercial agreement. I would be very happy by that. Right, we're buying petroleum. Why are we buying petroleum from Great Britain? I'm not going to buy petroleum. We can't really produce it at the moment. Okay, fine. We'll keep it at that point then. Something right, how you doing, dude? Okay, so you can see population contentment is rising slightly. That's good to see. We'll take a look at the actual things over here. Russia has banned children's work in factories. That's good. You can see obviously that's taking a big chunk out of our cash. Okay. So I'm also going to be looking for my greatest generals. Okay, so a 4-3-2, a 3-3-2. That's fairly balanced. I mean, he is in... so these two commanders are in Georgia, actually. That's pretty decent. So we do have a decent choice of generalship over here. Okay. So we have Cossack forces over here. More Cossacks. These are, yeah, Russian Cossack commander. Hussar cavalryman. Okay, so this stack is somewhat overburdened. Let's see what we can manage. Right, so you can't manage much. You could manage at most 1. You can manage 16. Indeed, we could do a better commander over there. Then I'll reduce the amount of troops. Okay. That's manageable. So we have about 13,000, well, about 12,000 cavalrymen there. Almost 13,000 cavalrymen. Still a decent force. Okay. So if I remove you from this, yeah, you can see that we're suffering here. Not too much that can be done about that. Okay, so we'll have the Cossacks. Now, the issue with the Cossacks is obviously the cavalry aren't going to do too well in the mountain terrain. Though it would be handy to have them available for the use there. Though, I probably would do better by having them over in Bessarabia. So what we'll do then is we'll have them move towards Bessarabia. At least we then have the option. These Cossack troops can march down to Georgia then. Indeed. Then again, I'll have the Cossacks actually remain around the area. I could have them around Sevastopol. At least split them up and sort of spread them out, so then at least we do have some reaction forces if there are landings. There we go. Okay, not too much has happened here. Righto. Yeah, so if we were to look at warships, you can see that's going to cost us about 320 gold. We're just going to refer to this as gold. It's just easy. It's a little bit confusing having money in private capital. Right, so obviously that's going to cost us a fair amount, so we are going to have to save up to build up the fleet. That's for damn sure. Cores, fairly goddamn expensive. Worthwhile though, nonetheless. Okay, what would I be looking at in terms of cost for rail? So we could start to build a rail, actually. 187 capital, 31 steel, 26 manufactured goods. Though, to be honest, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build instead a manufactured goods factory. I think I'm better off doing that. So we'll have this build. Where can we build it? Can't build it over here in St. Petersburg at the moment. We'll build this as well in Moscow. Though we do need some other... There's not much in the way of actual population, the other cities. They're not very large. Odessa has a little bit of size there, but it's not too much. Sevastopol is fairly low in terms of actual size. Warsaw's a fairly large city. And Poland in general has some fairly large cities. We'll build it in Moscow then, I guess, for the time being. Then again... I say regional consensus. When does the Crimean War start? I actually forgot, so... if somebody could tell me about that, that'd be fine. I know it's not too far away. Okay, there we go. Contentment is shifting a little bit. Right, region name. Let's find Moscow. Actually, if I sort by population, probably would do it. Okay, so we can see Moscow, St. Petersburg, Perm. That's not bad. It's not as large as, obviously, the other cities. Right, workers. Yeah, obviously nowhere near as many workers as in the other two twin capitals. Okay, so yeah, you have the two twin capitals at size 10 and then everything is just 4 or lower. Let's take a look at Perm. I'd like to diversify where my industry is, just to protect it more than anything. So Nizhny Novgorod is actually fairly handy. Perm. It's around here somewhere, surely. We have Kazan here. Ah, there we go, Perm. Okay. So we have 2 steel production sites here. Righto. Yeah, see, there's no actual factory here, so I'll build that up over here. There we go, get that underway. At least by having industry moved further out here to the east, we can somewhat protect ourselves. Or at least make it harder for us to be destroyed in combat. Not that that's not going to happen, it may very well happen. Okay. So let's set the commercial agreement with the Austrians. I would very much like that. I'm very keen to promote relations with the Austrians. Very keen. Okay, so I'm going to promise them local support, though I do not have any diplomats over here, so there's no need, there's no point, as I can't. Okay, so private capital is very low. We may end up taking a loan, in which case then we'll have the steel import subsidy, so then at least we gain 30 steel, and lower inflation somewhat. Okay. At least we're not going to be in debt, we'll still have some money next turn. It's fine by me. We'll shift forwards. What do we have in terms of military assets then? Okay. Do have some cavalry over here. I have some Russian infantry over here actually. More Cossacks. I'll have some of this infantry move. Could have them occupy that fort over here, or this Colonial station in fact. Having the Colonial station protected would be fairly handy. Okay. Let's take a look at the defences of the north. Not exactly solid. We do have a very large army over here though. Right. We have the Marines. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Marines transferred down here to Sevastopol. So that's going to take them about 63 days of travel. Right, what do we have here? Diplomat. Staffer. Okay, so you're an admiral. Let's go to defense. Big gun admiral. Okay. Strong disciplinarian. We'll have you lead our cavalry. Would make the most sense. You can be in charge of the guard. Okay. So I'm going to keep an army around here. Though I may take some forces away from it in the future. Okie dokie. So there's not much I can do in terms of influencing other nations, I just don't have the funds at the moment. Though we'll look into the Chinese in the future. Bum 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 bum. Okay. So the good thing is we're already started to produce industry. That's a very good thing. The issue, though, is that it's going to slow down the actual transportation network. We'll have to balance it out. I mean, there's a lot of things that we do need to do. And really, we need to decide what needs to be done first. So we need a few priorities. We do have a mission for the largest army. We do have a mission to try and build a very large navy, at least something to... I mean, the British Navy is obviously far in excess of that. So it's not part of the mission. So we just need to have the second largest navy. Okay, so we have that agreed upon by the Austrians. So at least we're going to have... we're going to find it easier to trade with the Austrians. That's good. Having more trade ships is actually a good idea. Right, okay, so we're buying steel. That's interesting. Okay, so this is coming from the colonies. Wool, cattle, wood. You can see here there's a few hits from it. Attrition. That's going to hurt. And that's definitely an advantage of having rail travel. You do not take that attrition. Which is a shame. Oh well. Either way, we're going to have to build up funds and just go from there. Okay. We don't have any diplomats, so there's nothing I can do for the moment in time. Yeah, there we go. Private capital shortage, businessmen demand easy credit to buy inputs. Yeah, there we go. So gain some inflation and some capital funds. So what we'll do then is we'll go to the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, and we'll go with the steel import subsidy. Actually, no, I can't afford it. We should possibly be able to afford it in the following turn. No, it's going to take some time then. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to reduce the actual steel importation, as we'll be able to buy that in the future anyway. Let's take a look. Right. I'm going to stop buying coal. I'm still producing coal, so that's a good thing. Honestly, the demand for coal isn't so great that we need to buy it. And obviously, as a producer, we need to be fairly reliant on our own stock. Now see, we're buying petroleum, which is rather interesting. Right, so if we buy a little bit less, we can maintain our current standings. Which I think I will do. The reason being, possibly somebody in the population, I would say the upper population, or somebody would want it. So we'll just keep it going for the time being. Might as well keep them pleased as long as possible. Okay, we'll advance a turn. Bum 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 dun 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 dun. Now what does chat think? Do we go for a rail line? Do we build up the agrarian economy, basically building the wheat and cereal fields? That is part of the mission. Do we expand the navy? Or do we continue to build up industry? I mean, the thing is, with building up the industry and just building in general, there is going to be it's going to take a while before it even pays off in the slightest. The navy is obviously not going to really pay off for a long time. Okay. Okay, so our involvement in the colonial area, Kazakhstan, is paying off. Our sphere of influence has increased to 6. That's very good. Okay. So we have a consulate and a mission over here. I suppose we really do need to invest in our colonies first. Once we get these into actual states, things will be better. Okay. They are fairly expensive. Change the colonial penetration by 4% with a maximum of 100. Has a 2% chance to trigger a revolution. Well, basically a rebellion. Though perhaps we do have the option of customs. Taking over customs. Needed a diplomat. So we'll do that in the future once we have that ability. I could have more merchants, and at least we do gain the possibility of access to resources. Do we have anything worth a damn in these areas? I suppose we need to do some prospecting, really. We do have some wool over here. Some iron. Iron's always good. Iron, more minerals. Fair amount of minerals down here, actually. Oh, these are actually troops, or explorers. Okay, it's an exploration party, okay. So I'm not entirely sure what one would use them for. I'm not entirely sure of their use. We'll have them head south, just see what happens. Okay, I need to increase my colonial penetration over here. That will come in time. Okay, prospecting. Nothing showing up. So let's see, how much would the Colonial merchants cost? Fuck, they're expensive. And that's just 40 money. Yeah, I can see a lot of these are fairly expensive. I mean, this is actually pretty cheap. Ah, so we need diplomats for these. Okay, we'll continue to pump immigrants into the colonies. Keep doing that. Once I get immigrants into pretty much all of the colonies, then we should hopefully be able to build those up. Then make them into full states eventually. Okay. Is there no way for the Baltic fleet to be able to get to the Black Sea? Oh, that is possible. It would take a long time. Though, that's good to know. I will keep them over here, but that is fantastic to know. I obviously am going to need a decent Baltic fleet, as we need to be able to put some resistance up. Okay, let's see here. Trading price of gems of gold has increased. Manufactured goods has returned to its standard value. Right. Coal continues to increase. Very good. So you can see here, number of industries you on the map is only 20. We only have about 16 mines. So in all honesty, we could do with building up the mining industry considerably. That's a good point, actually. I wonder if... do we have any gems? I mean, if we could produce more gems, that'd be very handy. And the thing would be, it would actually allow us to really build things up. How is it true that the AI turn is very slow? It's not very quick. But to be fair, it's an older game, and there's a lot going on here under the hood. Okay, so obviously I can't touch the petroleum at this moment in time. How much does tea sell for? Tea. That's what I will find out. Does it even say where tea can be bought? Okay, so there's not really any tea production going on. That's a good thing to know. Okay, tea fields. And obviously you can imagine that India would be most especially great for that. Opium's worth quite a decent amount. I don't think I have anywhere capable of growing it. Oh no. Oh no, I don't. Okay. Silk. Ah, now silk or something I could definitely, yeah. That's fairly handy, actually. Right now, mines. I don't believe I have anywhere with gems. Obviously, the Austrians have Bohemia that produces gems over there. Unfortunately, we do not have any gem fields, which is a shame. I'd have loved those. Okay. In all fairness, I could build up the coal extraction industry and the mining industry of, like, iron. Then at least be able to build that up to a good little thing. I do think we'll eventually find gold in Siberia. I'm sure there's something to do with that. But we need to bear that in mind for the future, that we do need to develop our mining industry. It's severely lacking at this moment in time. But at least we do have a few options for expanding. Though in all honesty, the more things we produce, the better. Can you mine gold in Alaska? I don't think it was discovered yet. I don't think it was discovered for a good while. I'm not entirely sure. Hmm. In all honesty, I do need to build that Trans-Siberian Railway. We're not really collecting too much. And I do need to build more collection points, especially in Siberia, as we're not entirely collecting everything. Nor are we in some parts of, like, at least the Kazakhs. Some, like, kind of like Kazakhstan. Or like the Kazan area. There's so many priorities here, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, our missionaries have arrived. Yeah, win the great game. To win the great game, I'd really need to have a railroad down here. At least then I'd be able to project some strength. Now they're trying to gain Okinawa. Units from Russia have built an outpost. Sweet. See, we're buying wine, so perhaps we want to start producing our own wine. Okay, apparently I've gained a new objective over here. Kazakh raiders threaten regions of Russian Central Asia. So we'll have some Kazakhs dispatched down here. They're obviously going to need to have some supplies though built up. Okay, so we already own Riga. Yeah, Ukrainian wine. I mean, Crimean wine would definitely be a doable thing, perhaps. Right, fruits. So fruits are obviously used for wine production. Georgian wine seems could be possible. Yeah, it seems like only wine from Georgia. Okay. Do we go for some... It's actually not too expensive, 530 capital. That's not too bad. Then, how much would it cost us for actually producing said wine? Seems like it's automatically just made into wine then. Fair enough. Let's see. Ah, that's fruits. Rum, wines. Ah, I see. There we go, there's a vineyard. Yeah, so same place as before then. Vineyard is about the same, actually. Yeah, it's about the same. Obviously, it has a higher input cost of manufactured goods. Okay, cereal farms are fairly expensive, actually. Okay, you know what? I'm going to commit to building rails. I think that needs to be done. I'm going to build rails. How do we want to do this, then? I think we want to go north to south, first of all. I think that's going to be the option that works out well for us. Obviously, it's going to be a fair amount of cost, but I do think it's worthwhile. So let's see, we could have it travel to Tula, would be very handy. Aye. Have it travel to the population centres. Moscow, Kiev, Sevastopol. Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, if we have it travel to Tula, Gomel, Chernigov, and then we could have it into Kiev, and then from Kiev we could have it to either Warsaw or to Sevastopol or to Odessa. So we'll go with Tula. Start building that up. We're going to have to really ramp up the infrastructure production. It's going to take a long time. Bam, ba-dun, da-dun, dun, da-dun, 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 dun. And we can see there from the armies moving south that they're losing a hell of a lot of cohesion. They're losing men. They're losing actual, just, effectiveness. So yeah, I think rails are going to have to be done. There's just a lot to be said for it. It's going to cost us more in terms of actual upkeep, in terms of actual coal. So, but that's not much of a problem. We can always increase coal production. We do have a lot of land, and we do have a lot of potential mines out there. Okay. Right. So obviously I can't afford that right now. So we're going to need a fair amount. Okay. We will have the invasion of the Turks. No matter what, it's going to happen. I think we have about two... I think was it 1854? I can't remember the bloody year of the Crimean War. It's not too far away anyway. Might even be sooner than that, but I'm not entirely sure. Russian predominations is all set for resources. Just have to build the mines right. Fairly much. Obviously, you do need like to have workers. I believe you do need the population there to a degree. But I think there's enough population in like minor population centres to really be able to manage it. Ah, right. 54 to 56. Yeah, I knew it wasn't too far away. Okay. See, we are lacking on private capital, so I do need to be careful of my spending. I mean, that is actually putting the inflation up there. So yeah, we need to be careful about that. We'll have to accrue some funds for a while. The waters of the Persian Gulf are threatened by pirates. We completely understand how to harness the possibilities of Clausewitzian school and corporate structure. We learn the basic principles of joint stock companies and the hierarchical corporate structure. Okay. War goals for the Crimean War. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure what I'd be able to get away with. If I could take Constanza and Kars, I believe we do have actual claims to those regions. That would definitely help me out. Let's see. Yeah, see, we do have a claim over Kars and Constanza. I'm not entirely sure what else I could do to them. There's only so much you can do in Pride of Nations. I'm trying to remember actually the options at the negotiating table. I believe I can draw upon military concessions, which honestly would not be a bad thing at all. Money would actually be a fantastic thing. I mean, if we could actually beat up the Ottoman Empire and take some cash from them, or at least have something coming in yearly, that would be very welcome. At least then that might help out with the development of the industry. I will have to keep an eye on, really, the amount of industry and their consumption, as obviously we do need to expand both industry and mining. So what we might want to do is take a look at how many factories can be sustained by a certain mine, and then really either upgrade the size of said mine or go for another mine. By upgrade, I mean try to, I don't know. We could build more mines. It depends really on the amount of resources in a selected area. For example, what I mean by this is, let's see, so if we go over here. So you can see here, we have 2 iron, 1 cattle, 1 wool. I could only build 2 iron mines, while over here I could build 3 coal mines, so you can see we only have we have 2 coal mines over here at the moment. Fair amount. There's a lot of coal in this area, I'm not gonna lie, actually. We do have the elements for an industrial revolution, we just need to be able to bring it all together. I think the issue is that we lack a centralized population to really exploit the amount of workers. Oh well. We'll get there, we'll get there. Okay, so we've finished building our missions over here. That should help to increase our influence in the area. Okay, this is the French building an outpost over here. Great Britain has been the subject of promised support from the Netherlands. That's very nice of them. Okay. Right, so we'll continue to build up funds. I don't think there's really too much going on the international sort of stage at this moment in time. At least nothing really to take note of. Waiting for more diplomats, in all honesty. Okay. I'm not entirely sure. There might be a possibility of events in the future. It's the first time I've really played as the Russians, at least in 1850, so I'm not entirely sure how things will work out. Though this is a discovery for us all. So it would be rather interesting if there was a timestamp where you could actually play as the Confederate States in the Grand Campaign. But ah well. Yeah, I would say the prerequisites to get into Pride of Nations is just having patience more than anything. It's such an interesting game, such a unique game. Oh, there we go, about 51,000 new immigrants arrived and settled in Siberia this year. Awesome. Chechen raiders. So you can just see the damage this does to them by traveling like so. It's really not good for us. Japanese pirates. Korean pirates. Okay. So we're still sitting here at 2 inflation. Actually, let's take a look. That's not a good. That's not a good balance. Not liking that. We need more grains. Okay, so the forces have arrived over here. A little worse for wear. Fairly intact though. Just their cohesion has suffered to the most part. Okay. Cossack commanders. Cereal farms are most definitely the answer, yes. Okay, yeah, we do produce a good amount of supplies and ammunition over here, so that's fairly handy. It's actually quite nice to produce it in 3 different areas over here. That's actually really handy. Okay. The commander can move into here, actually. Hello there, Brez. How you doing, dude? Okay. So we have things underway. Put them in the cities. These are light cavalry. Okay. I'll keep these around Moscow. So we have the Kronstadt fortifications. See, the issue is I can't really fortify this area. I mean, I could fortify the area over here, then at least we could make it very difficult for them to get anything towards St. Petersburg by the sea. They'd have to drop off around here. Though in terms of cost efficiency, is it worth that investment? No, not really. Not now, anyway. Okay. We'll continue forwards. How long until we actually gain our first rails? So about 192 days until we can gain our first railroads. Then at least once things are underway like that, then we should start looking at expanding the rail down to Kiev. Obviously, it's not going to be 190 days before we start building another rail line. I'd say we need to maintain... We'll go for about a standard of trying to maintain about 1,000 private capital. Should prohibit us from really taking inflation on through the private businessmen, basically desiring cash. Devaluing the economy, basically. Bam 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 da 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 da. Oh, there we go. I forgot I could make this larger. Okay, there we go. So, involvement in colonial area of Tomsk is paying off. Our civil investment has increased over here. That's very nice to see. Okay. Trading prices is something to keep an eye on, really. Righto. See, these aren't fairly bad cities. There's a good size to them. Okay, so this factory will be ready in, I'd say, a good amount of time. A fair amount of time, anyway. Okay, so we can see here manpower efficiency, transportation efficiency, local population satisfaction. So transportation efficiency isn't very good at the moment, so overall productivity is only 45%. So obviously we need to kick that up into gear. Okay. Let's take a look at the international stage. No wars ongoing at the moment. We do have some treaties over here, however. What will the immediate effects of St. Petersburg-Moscow Railway be? Yes, productivity will increase in these locations, which is honestly worthwhile. The fact that it's running through St. Petersburg, Novgorod, to Kaluga, into Moscow is going to be very handy. There's a decent amount of population there. Obviously, it's somewhat difficult with Russia because you have two large cities or two reasonably large cities, but then the rest of the nation is not very large. It's not very concentrated, which does make it a little bit harder to really industrialize. But we'll ideally have cities growing. That's a good point as well. We could do with establishing supply depots. More than likely down in Odessa and Bessarabia. I mean, the Caucasus is going to be interesting. I don't think I'll advance the Caucasus. I mean, the Russians did historically advance into, like, Bulgaria and down that way. So if we could try to force that way open before the Turks or the allied forces of the French or British, and possibly the Italians, could really do much about it. And by Italians, I mean the Sardinians. Ah, Sardinia Pandabond. Basically Italians anyway. But yeah, if we could push that down and really try to make it to Constantinople or Istanbul, could try to force some kind of decent victory. Okay. Ah, Prussia has declared war against Belgium. Okay, that's rather bloody interesting. I'm going to be very interested to see how that war goes. Right. The Parliament of Belgium has rejected the government's proposal for general conscription. Right, the Foreign Ministry. See, I'd love to know. I'm honestly not entirely sure what the reason for war is. Though we'll have to keep an eye on it and see how that goes. I'd imagine Belgium will put up a fight. Okay. So Belgium is mobilizing her troops. I'd be very interested to see if anything happened there. I don't know if the Dutch will get involved in that. I'd imagine they would have. Surely they would have. Or would like to anyway. If you take a look at the cities of Brussels and Antwerp, you can see there by the walls that they actually have fairly effective walls. Whereas like Moscow, St. Petersburg and etc., they're only surrounded by wooden walls. Something that's not very advanced. Or at least not very reinforced, I should say. Whereas a lot of the fortifications in Europe itself is actually, well, Western Europe itself, is actually fairly solid. A lot of stone walls, basically. Or stone fortifications. Solid fortifications. More solid than wood, anyway. Okay. Right. So we do have a casus belli against the Chinese for their control of this over here. Fairly handy to know about. Alright, here we go. Entrepreneurs abandon our nation. Ooh, got their hands on opium. Good news, sir. Oh, hello. This is actually, we've got some nice things going on over here. Yeah, Luxembourg was famous for its fortress. I can't say. I suppose balance in a way. If that makes sense. Okay, significant increase of urban population region of Tula. See, that's very handy. Population has grown over here too. Ah, so we've actually gained a city over here. That's very handy. Right, Russian prospection teams. I found some wool over here. I don't know how you find wool. And more iron over here. Always good to have more iron. I like that. Okay, I'm pretty handy. I'm pretty happy with our handy men there. Yeah, the Parliament of Belgium has rejected the proposal. Sweet. Okay. We should have enough to build another rail. Well, we do have enough to build another rail line. Right. Have that head to Gamel. Okay, Koki. I do believe this is where we're going to leave it off for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I apologise about my speech. I always end up recording something when I'm tired and I always end up talking like an idiot. I apologise as well for the length of time it has been since the last video. I have been exceptionally busy as of late. Hopefully things will settle down in the future so I am able to produce more content for you guys. So until next time, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope you guys have a great day or evening, whatever you are, whatever you're doing. Until next time, goodbye.